Welcome to EVE Online's Alliance Tournament 14, the $250,000 major. This is going to be the first in a series of videos I'm going to be publishing about the tournament. In this video, I'm going to just be discussing the tournament fairly generally, why it's important to the game and the EVE Online community as a whole. If you know absolutely nothing about EVE or just a casual EVE player that's not really interested in PvP, this video is for you. Even if you PvP but you don't really care about tournaments and you see them as being disconnected from the game as a whole, hopefully you'll care a bit more about the tournament scene and the impact that it has on the game as a whole after watching this video. In some of the videos I'm going to be putting out later, I'm going to talk about the teams that are going to be participating in this year's tournament. I'm going to be talking about the meta of the tournament and the impact of the format having changed from a 12 to a 10-man format. I'm also going to be talking about the Hydermel scandal from last year's Alliance tournament and my perspective on that, having been a member of Camel Empire. So, on to the meat of the subject, the $250,000 major. The title is really not that clickbait if you actually think about it. Although EVE is going to be partially going free to play, at the moment, if you want to play the game, it requires a subscription. And the majority of players pay for their subscription in the form of an item called Plex. Plex stands for Pilot License Extension, but that's really just a fancy way of saying the membership that you have in EVE Online. And you can either choose to sell that item in-game for cash, for players who can afford it, or you can then keep it and just subscribe your account that way. The item usually sells for about $1 billion ISK on the market, and if you convert the tournament prize winnings from the limited edition ships that are awarded to the winners and the skins that are awarded to most every team that enters the tournament, the total prizes comes to about 16 to 17 trillion ISK, and when you add that all up, it's over $250,000. So it's a massive tournament prize pool, and if you can enter the tournament, you should definitely take it seriously. It's a lot of fun, very competitive, and I've enjoyed it every year I've entered. With the kind of money that you can win potentially, you could pay for an army of mercenaries to destroy a massive coalition of player alliances, and in doing so, radically alter the political landscape of EVE Online as a whole. Lenny Kravitz did this exactly in World War B only a couple months ago. With the kind of money that you can win from this tournament, you can pay for all of the losses and then some from the massive BTEC-R fight in January 2014. That was the fight that, even if you're not familiar with the game, you may have heard of it for making mainstream news because of the hundreds of thousands of dollars in massive capital and super capital ships that were destroyed permanently, forever, never coming back in the massive 17 to 20 hour long brawl, I think it was, that had over 4,000 players participate in it. So, on to the tournament itself. What is the Alliance Tournament? The Alliance Tournament is the major tournament run annually by the developers of EVE Online CCP games. The tournament itself is a 64-team double elimination format tournament that features 10 players going up against 10 players for 10 minutes, and whoever destroys the enemy team's fleet or has the most ships remaining at the end of those 10 minutes is the winner. And like anything in EVE, the tournament itself is a sandbox as well. Ships are worth a certain point value, so a small destroyer is only worth a handful of points, but a larger faction battleship is very expensive. In later videos, I'm going to explain some of the thought processes and theory crafting behind why you would choose what you would choose and explain the mechanics that go into that as a whole. But for the scope of this video, just know that smaller ships, not worth a lot. Makes sense, right? So teams have been testing and honing their strategies for the last few months to try to come up with the best combination of ships and then have a deep setup pool for the tournament as a whole. The reason I'm so excited to be involved is that every year CCP chooses 3 player commentators to broadcast the event live on Twitch for 2 of the 3 weeks that the tournament runs. So, lucky me, I get a all expenses vacation paid to Reykjavik, Iceland for 2 weeks, so thank you, CCP. And along with myself, I'm going to be working with 3 other player commentators. I'm going to be working with Chester, who is a longtime friend of mine. I like to call him the Idra of EVE Online. He's an excellent player mechanically, but he's a very polarizing figure in the community. In addition to being a good player who understands a lot of the piloting mechanics and can then communicate that to the audience as a whole, he's also good for the tournament in his advertising. Man could actually sneeze and it would be on the front page of Reddit. No one else could lose a very cheap Tech2 Fit Phantasm and have it make the front page of r/Eve. I don't know how he does it. Zarvux Toril, he's EVE Online's probably the largest streamer. He's a very good personality on camera. He's quite entertaining. I don't know how he's going to be having to tone himself down for the stream, but I look forward to working with him. He's just going to be a blast to work with. Then you have Garayan Wasanar, who's an old guard player from Rote Capel. He's what you would expect to come out of kind of an average tournament team. He's not really a super committed player, but he's not casual either, and he kind of reflects the average player base, and he can then bring that into his commentary. So, last but not least, I'm moderator. I'm the former team captain of Exodus, and then a co-captain and player in Camel Empire and Team Thingy. So my specialty going into the tournament is team decision making and mechanics and theory crafting, and being able to communicate the actions of the teams, their captains, explaining why they're doing what they're doing, and then communicating that to the viewers. On the whole, I think it's a good spread of casters. I think the tournament format and meta is going to be very diverse, and I really look forward to casting the tournament in about a month's time in Reykjavik. So, hey, if you've caught up with the video this far, thank you for watching, and the next video I'm going to be producing is going to be on the teams that are going to be participating in this upcoming Alliance tournament.